Fuel prices are going absolutely crazy right now, and if you've been to the servo lately, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In my case, it now costs almost $170 more for a full tank of diesel, from $215 to $383 for 130 litres. So it is understandable that most people, including myself, are really starting to feel the pinch. The assumption is that most people are going to lock up their 4x4s, cancel travel plans, and avoid unnecessary drives. And I'm really starting to see the panic on social media right now, with numerous posts about the rising costs and uncertainty of the future of camping and traveling. But what if I told you that I think that the current market situation and the geopolitical landscape might lead to a massive boom in the camping and adventure markets in Australia, and that you shouldn't hit that panic button just yet. Hold on to your 4x4, hold on to your camper, and hold on to your trailer. Let me explain. Yes, diesel is very expensive right now, and it's getting worse day by day. I also personally think that the fuel stations are scalping a great profit, but that's another subject for another day in itself. However, more importantly than the price of diesel, the cost of everything around us is rising rapidly due to this situation. Almost everything that we have relies in some way, shape, or form on fossil fuels to produce, transport, or manufacture. Which leads me to my point. How can this lead to growth for camping and traveling in Australia? With rising costs, there is much less disposable income for the average family. And with so many conflicts around the world, there is also much less security and safety overseas. Taking the family on an overseas holiday is already incredibly expensive, and it's going to become even more expensive with the rising cost of jet fuel. And when you look at the current political climate overseas, there is a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. So when you add up the flights for the whole family, hotel rooms, and eating out every single meal, the costs and the stresses are astronomical. But when you self-travel right here in Australia, this math changes completely. And most importantly, you also get peace of mind. We live in one of the most beautiful and safest countries in the world, full of amazing nature to explore and places to camp in to suit every single budget and vehicle. The cost of diesel for your rig or 4x4 is fixed. It doesn't matter if it's just you driving, or in my case, my wife and 2 kids packed into the cruiser with a trailer strapped onto the back. When the fuel cost is split across every single passenger with minimal accommodation cost, suddenly, driving across this big beautiful country of ours is actually the most cost-effective and safest way to have a family holiday in today's world. Let me give you a real-world example. My favorite place to camp in at the moment is Pebbly Beach Campground, which is approximately 650 kilometers away from where I live. Even with a very high usage rate with a headwind of 20 liters per 100 kilometers when towing, and a diesel price of $4 per liter, which we might eventually get to, the return trip will cost just over $1,000 in diesel for a family of 4. A 7-night booking at this camping area for my whole family is going to cost me just $250. A total cost of $1,250 for 7 nights travel and accommodation. That works out to be $312.50 per person. In comparison, the absolute cheapest package I can find to the Gold Coast for my whole family for the exact same date range, for flights, accommodation, and a kitchen, so that way we can compare apples with apples without spending money on food, is $591 per person in a 3.5-star motel. Then, that cost increases rapidly when you add the airport transfers, which for me where I live is $150 to the airport each way. Then that becomes even worse when you add the cost of buying food, the activities you need to do to keep the kids occupied, hiring a car, and then the fuel for that car. The costs become astronomical. Therefore, on one side you have the comfort of your own vehicle to travel at your own pace to your favorite camping area that is right on the beachfront at a cost of $312 per person. And on the other side, you have the stress of catching taxis to and from airports, carrying luggage while managing 2 young kids, taking the cheapest possible flights that might get delayed or cancelled, staying at the cheapest possible accommodation that might be horrible, for a minimum cost of $741 per person. That is more than double the cost of traveling and camping. Factoring all of that into account, even if the cost was equal, I would rather go in my own car and camp at somewhere I like let alone having double the cost. At Pebbly Beach, I know that my kids are going to spend the whole weekend playing on the beach and seeing some beautiful wildlife, and my wife and I can relax, unwind and enjoy some fresh air. Try doing that in an overseas resort without spending thousands of dollars or constantly worrying about your surroundings. You are getting massive value per person when you camp. You have total control of your trip. You don't have to deal with cancelled flights, crowded airports, or even worse, the safety associated with traveling in airports these days. So, while it definitely stings at the moment in the Bowser, Australians are still going to want to go on holidays. They're just not going to be flying overseas to do it. They're going to be buying up four-wheel drives, hitching those four-wheel drives up to their campers or caravans, and exploring our own amazing backyard. Our touring lifestyle is not going to stop or disappear. It's just going to adapt to the current costs. And that means people are going to be buying more gear, more people are going to be upgrading their rigs, and a massive injection in the local 4x4 and camping industry. Exactly like what we had happen after COVID. Unfortunately, as a result of rising living costs, many families will be impacted, and sadly some more than others. And believe me when I say that I have had many thoughts of what I would do if things get worse and harder, because nobody is immune to what's happening. But no matter how I calculate it and I look at it, I always end up coming to the same result, that in Australia, living with a tow vehicle in a caravan is the most affordable and viable option. Even with the diesel prices through the roof, it is still far cheaper than buying or renting a house, which again validates that when times get tough, the off-road and camping industry in Australia is going to boom, as it is still more affordable than any other alternative. So I actually think that those of us who are already enjoying the camping lifestyle are in the best position for the changes to come in the future. However, it is just unfortunate that our biggest consumable is the very thing that has increased the most. But luckily for us, it is not something that is consumed by default. Therefore, if you plan for longer camp stays, that diesel is going to be offset by the low cost of accommodation, overall still making that trip much cheaper and enjoyable than any other alternative. But we do need to look after our beautiful camping areas, state forests, and national parks so we can keep them clean, enjoyable, and affordable. So, what do you think? Do you agree with my analysis of the situation, or do you think I got it all wrong? Are you still planning to get out and explore our beautiful country despite the rising fuel costs this year, or are you just going to stay home? Make sure you let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for me. It genuinely keeps me motivated to put in the hours it takes to make the content with no sponsors. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.